Good evening, everybody, from the Wilkerson Grindus Activity Center in Fort Worth. Ron Barr with Paul Melton for tonight's City Video 45 high school basketball game. And tonight, the Dunbar Wildcats on top in 7-5A take on the Eastern Hills Highlanders, whom head coach Felly Donaldson says they want to be the spoilers in 7-5A, and they may very well try to do that tonight as they take on these Wildcats, not making very many adjustments. We've seen the Wildcats on several occasions on City Video 45, and they're coming in with basically the same starting lineup, but with one exception.
Right, they're going with Dale Holloway tonight, who has started the last 4 or 5 games for the Wildcats. He's been in and out of the starting lineup all year long, as you said, Ron. Right here we see the Eastern Hills Highlanders starting lineup. Montrell Dukes, the point guard. Anthony Phillips. Darren Anderson, the man to watch, 6'8" senior for the Highlanders. Dwayne Holloway, another fine athlete. And Cannon Black also in that starting lineup tonight for the Highlanders.
The Dunbar Wildcats coming in with names that we've been very familiar with: Otis Evans, David Ross, Reuben Means, Lincoln Richard, but Dale Holloway coming in tonight playing in place of the Carlo Evans, who just basically that Dale Holloway's been playing a little bit better.
And Holloway will probably come in tonight, especially for 6'8" Darren Anderson. Anderson waiting the Dunbar Wildcats out in the middle of the court. Tonight's officials, there you see, that is Walter Bowen, and the other gentleman will be John Pursley.
The Dunbar Wildcats offensively average about 74 points a game to Eastern Hills 57. Defensively, Dunbar gives up an average of 62 points a game. Eastern Hills surprisingly giving up an average of 59 despite that record of 6-13. So on the plus side, it would almost appear that Dunbar is a plus 15 or plus 20 points in this game. And we'll soon find out as the tip-off goes, and it's picked up by Dunbar. And that's going to be number 24, Dale Holloway, and gives it off to Otis Evans, who brings it down, coming left to right. Dunbar in the blue tonight. We've seen them all year long in the white uniforms with the blue lettering, but Eastern Hills opting for that tonight. First shot taken, no good there by number 32, Lincoln Richards. Second shot goes up, and it's good. And Dale Holloway gets his first 2, and it's 2-0 early on.
Well, for Eastern Hills, we'll be keeping an eye on number 21, Darren Anderson, at 6'8". Already he's lost the starting tip-off. 6'4" Lincoln Richards going up, out-jumping the 6'8" player from Eastern Hills. And then Dale Holloway able to get the rebound in front of Darren Anderson at that time.
We'll see who controls the boards here on defense as the upshot there by Lincoln Richard for 2. Well, a lot of times Dunbar's come in. They've controlled the boards rather well. Reuben Means has come in, and he's been their effective three-point man. But we'll see what happens tonight. They've got some big sizes in there for Eastern Hills, but shooting just a tad bit cold here in the first 3 shots they've taken. 2 down low and 1 from the outside.
You see Otis Evans bringing it down court for Dunbar. Look for a good matchup between the point guards tonight, the first and second rated assist leaders in the area. Otis Evans, number 1 with, or rather Montrell Dukes for Eastern Hills, number 1 with 8 assists per game, and Otis Evans with just behind that 7.8.
Dale Holloway coming up with a little bit of traffic under the boards and getting his 4th point of the night. It's 6-0 here in the first period at Wilkerson Grindus Activity Center. And we'll see some aggressive shooting on the part of Dunbar tonight, but again, Coach Robert Hughes, as he's always said, you never know which team comes out here. Unable to get the shot off. Eastern Hills takes a long 3-point shot. Cannon Black make that Montreal Dukes. Taking a look at Montreal Dukes, number 5, and Cannon Black, number 35. Nice little jumper there by Lincoln Richard, and he and Dale Holloway scoring all the points tonight. Montreal Dukes coming down now, gives it back off to number 35, Cannon Black. In a little bit of traffic as Black goes up and gets fouled in the process. And the foul there is going to be against Lincoln Richard.
Mentioned a little earlier, Ron, you wonder what the Dunbar team is going to show up. You got to consider this is a team that's played 30 games this season, and that's a lot more than most people. Really, the district season is kind of a breather for them. They're not going to tournaments every weekend and playing against teams all over the state and all over the nation. District is actually time their season kind of slows down. A team that plays well over 30 games each year. They've played 30 games this year and have 2 weeks to go in the district.
And that only loss they have, surprisingly, against the Pascal team. The Panthers beat them right after the big tournament win. They come back and kind of let the sails down a little bit. The Panthers come in and took advantage of it, struck early and won late in the game and beat them, so that only loss. Nice little shuttle pass inside, and Lincoln Richards with 2. with a nice assist there by Dale Holloway. And it's 10-5. 5:27 in the first period. Interception there, if you will, by Lincoln Richard. And no pressure on the part of Eastern Hills. Felly Donaldson knows the team can't do much this year in the way of 7-5A, but they'd like to be spoilers. All kinds of height as Dale Holloway goes up against Darren Anderson and goes up and over and scores 2 more points and makes the score a lead by 7, 12-5 with 4:58.
It'd be a big boost in anyone's season to beat Dunbar. Pascal found that out in the district opener, but since then Pascal has come back, played Dunbar here at Wilkerson Grannis, and Dunbar beat them by 20 that time. Dunbar has yet to lose on this court this year.
Long jump shot there by Cannon Black, no good. Turn around the rebound by Dwayne Holloway. That's going to count, I believe. Let's see if they have not put it up on the scoreboard yet. And it does. They're going to count it for Dwayne Holloway.
Again, in terms of assists, we're looking at the number 1 and 2 players in the area, Otis Evans and Montrell Duke for Eastern Hills.
Darren Anderson gets charged with that foul, so each team has 1. And we'll get a substitution early on as Andre Foster comes in, along with Carlo Evans. So Carlo Evans comes in, and David Ross goes out. Andre Foster comes in for Darren Anderson, and the big man sits down early. It's 4:23 to play in the first period, 12-7. It's a 5-point game, Dunbar on top.
Evans no stranger to the Dunbar offense. He started many games for him this year.
Errant shot going up by Montrell Dukes, and on the rebound getting fouled, and I believe it may be Carlo Evans on that foul. Well, Andre Foster, number 33 for Eastern Hills, gets charged. He and Andre Foster was going up with David Ross, and Foster gets charged with a foul, so it's second team foul for Eastern Hills. Foster again as he tangles it up with Lincoln Richard. And within the span of about 6 seconds, Andre Foster gets 2 fouls. Richard, jump, and already Lincoln Richard with 4 points. Make that 8 points, 4 baskets. 14-7, 3:57 to go in the first period.
That's the thing about Dunbar. They've got so many weapons. You hear about Dale Holloway recently leading the team in scoring. Ruben Means, a 3-point threat all the time. Tonight, it's Lincoln Richards so far.
Well, Lincoln Richards certainly can jump into double figures. He had 13 against Alif Hastings in the WSL tournament. Nice move there by Montrell Dukes. Knocks the ball away. They get it back, brings it down. Dukes against Ruben Means, and the shot was short. Means there for the rebound. Dukes make that. Means dished it off to Dale Holloway, and he gets hammered under the basket there by, I believe, Cannon Black, number 35.
Take a replay look at it here. Cannon Black on the foul, number 35, coming in on Dale Holloway, and uses a move that a second-team all-district linebacker would use. Cannon Black on the bad boys defense of the Highlanders this year. They're by-district football team, second-team all-district performer, and he's playing a little football out here on Dale Holloway.
Holloway going to the line for the first time tonight. He has 6 points, and still does. He misses the first of a 1-and-1. Well, speaking of football, we'll have some interesting commitments that happened earlier in the week. If you have not kept up with them, we'll bring them to you in a little bit later on in the broadcast. Some of the 7-5A players, names that you'd recognize from not only this year, but last year as well. 5A and a 4A. 3:08 in the first period. Nice turnaround jumper by Anthony Phillips, and he's got 2 on for the night, and it's 14-9. Inside 3 minutes, Dunbar brings up no pressure. Dwayne Holloway back there with Ruben Means. Knowing Means from half-court range could take control of the three-point shot. Behind the back pass there by Cannon Black to Anthony Phillips, and clears out the traffic, and here come the Highlanders down midcourt.
Dunbar with a sophomore in the game right now, number 41, Anthony Burks.
Dwayne Holloway, another bucket from the right side, inside the three-point line, and now it's Holloway works against Ruben Means. Eyeball to eyeball. Well, it looked like Dwayne Holloway, getting his first foul, wanted to let Ruben Means know exactly who was in charge here. And now Holloway goes to the sidelines, and Felly Donaldson's going to talk to him a little bit as Darren Anderson and Otis Evans come back in the game.
Eyeball to eyeball, Holloway to Holloway, and it looked like Coach Donaldson pulls Dwayne Holloway over to the bench and says, settle down right now. This game's early. You're just down by 3. Don't lose your cool. Looks like Ruben Means going to the line, not Holloway, but Dwayne Holloway with the foul.
And already some emotions running a little bit high here, and Felly Donaldson tries to calm it down rather quickly. And whatever Dwayne Holloway said to Ruben Means, who is scoreless here in the first quarter, 2:24 to play, worked as he goes to the line and gets 1 of 2.
Dwayne Holloway, another member of the football team this fall, playing basketball. He was a backup quarterback to Chance McCarty on the varsity this year, but of course a starter in basketball. But Eastern Hills really loaded with fine athletes. Their problem this year is getting enough players in double figures. Anderson's consistent, but usually not getting a lot of help as far as players scoring in double figures.
Otis Evans getting a nice little screen there by Dale Holloway, going over the basket, getting fouled in the process. So a physical game beginning to set up here. Anthony Phillips' first foul, the 6th team foul, and it sends Otis Evans to the line. 15-11. It was as much as a 7-point spread. It's down to 4 now at the 2-minute mark of the first period. Well, he gets physical this early. It can get ugly and physical later on.
Well, Eastern Hills coming out playing Dunbar very well. We know they're capable of that. Again, we mentioned the great athletes they have, but it looks like they're trying to use a little intimidation, too, and it could be working.
Little O misses that one. He makes the second one, so he's got 1 point on the night. He and Ruben Means both with 1 point here in the first period, counting down 1:55, and it's a 5-point game. Dunbar on top.
Otis Evans' scoring average has dropped from about 16 points to just a little over 13 points since the district season got underway.
Anthony Phillips got into a little bit of traffic there with Carlo Evans, lost the ball. And a foul called on Eastern Hills as Ruben Means will go to the line.
Montrell Duke draws the foul, and of course that's the matchup we ask you to keep an eye on. Take a look at Otis Evans coming down the court on the replay here, the tail end of it, and Montrell Dukes gets him on the arm. The battle of the 2-point guards here tonight, and Otis Evans goes to the line right here.
With Dwayne Holloway behind Evans, if Dukes didn't get him, Holloway would have. So either way, Evans was going to go to the line, it looked like. It's 16-11, 1:41 to play. Get a momentary pause in the action here while we tie a shoelace or two.
With Cannon Black leaning over to tie a shoe.
Otis 2 for 3 from the line, and Coach Hughes wants to talk to Ruben Means during this momentary pause.
Coach Hughes uses the timeouts very well. He's always got someone to talk to anytime someone's at the line, anytime there's a pause in the action.
With that team this year, he's always got something to say.
And what a well-coached team it's been this year. Nobody was sure what would become of Dunbar.
Cannon Black, 3-point shot. Ruben Means on the other side picks it up and almost gets tackled there by Anthony Phillips. All kinds of mess under the basket, and give credit to Dwayne Holloway. Kept his cool and stayed on the outside. The ball rolled to him.
The Means hit Evans. Evans shouldn't have tried to go inside. He was wide open for the shot from the outside, but took it in, and as a result came up with the turnover.
Turnaround jumper, Carlo Evans against Anthony Phillips, and Phillips over the top, but he was hit the iron. Otis Evans gets fouled on the shot, and it may, let's see if it counts. It does count.
Basket's going to count, and once again, Otis Evans will go to the line. He might need to go ahead and start camping out there at the free throw line. Now another substitution being made. Take a look at the foul on Evans. The bucket's going to count. Evans driving the lane. Cannon Black gets in front of him and doesn't get himself planted, and as a result draws the foul. Evans with the presence of mind to make the bucket, so an opportunity for a 3-point play here for the Wildcats.
Greg Walton comes in for the Highlanders, and Charles Smith comes in for the Wildcats. Make the as Otis Evans is now 3 for 5. You got a 1:06 to play here in the first period. Greg Walton, number 45, and then on the other side, number 14 for Dunbar, Charles Evans. The Manute Bowl look-alike out there. He's such a string bean. Interception there by the Highlanders. Nice move. And still can't score.
And Anderson goes up 6 foot 8 inches tall, grabs the net, and he draws a technical foul here, hanging on the rim. Darren Anderson, there you see number 21. He's the biggest player on this court by 4 inches.
Well, give credit there to Greg Walton, because as the pass came around, Walton stood there and snapped it, got it back, tried to put it up on the basket, and got a lot of iron. And so once again, it's like they're a little cold shooting run to the basket, and Eastern Hills just can't get it going. It's now a 9-point game with Evans at the line for the tee. Now it's a 10-point game. 47 seconds.
In that situation, a judgment call by the official Walter Bowen. But certainly if he makes the call, it's not wrong.
Andre Foster comes back here in the game. Second technical foul shot made. 5 of 7 for Otis Evans. He's got 5 and from the stripe, 2 from the floor. It's an 11-point game, 22-11. Well, Charles Smith all by himself on the outside from the right side, takes the shot, makes it. He wasn't even protected or covered. High bank shot there, no good. Anderson with it to make that Smith with the rebound. Otis Evans. A kind of sort of alley-oop to David Ross, and it's good as Ross scores 2, 13, 12 seconds and counting. Wasn't high enough to be an alley-oop, but it was certainly close enough to count as one.
Nevertheless, on that one, I believe we can tell there's more Dunbar fans in the stands than Eastern Hills tonight.
And that's it at the end of the first as Greg Walton takes that shot and again gets the Eastern Hills trademark here in the first period of an iron ball. 26-11 at the end of the first. We'll take a timeout on City Video 45's high school basketball game of the week. As far as the bench is concerned, only 2 points coming off the bench in the first half, or first period. That was on the part of Charles Smith for 2, but 26-11. And right now the top scorer so far, Lincoln Richard with 8 points. Otis Evans with 6. Make that 7 points. Dwayne Holloway with 4 for the Highlanders, and Montrell Dukes with that 3-point shot.
Darren Anderson does not start this second period for Eastern Hills, but looks like he's going to come into the game shortly. He's at the scorer's table, crouched down. You saw on the top of your screen there.
Dale Holloway with an assist there by Charles Smith.
Well, Dale Holloway, the only junior starting for Dunbar at this point in the season, the only junior that started all year for Dunbar for that matter, now leads the Wildcats in scoring as far as the team is concerned at 17.7 points per game. To lead all scorers, Reuben Means and Otis Evans have both kind of fallen off in their scoring averages in the district, but nevertheless, Dunbar on top with a 7-1 mark.
Otis Evans for 3. Otis Evans not known for 3-point shooting, but certainly prone to take a shot from outside the circle or two. And successful there makes it a 20-point ball game.
Foul on number 24, Dale. His first, game second. Checking in for Eastern Hills, number 35, Cannon Black, 13, Chris Cannon.
Cannon Black comes back in, and Greg Walton goes back out.
Chris Battles also into the game for the Highlanders.
Chris Battles sneak in.
Nice one.
Certainly did.
At the point guard position. Going to give
Certainly did.
Montrell Dukes a rest. Brodus Evans still in at the point guard for Dunbar. And I don't believe in any of our games here on City Video 45 that we've had Dunbar in. I don't think Otis Evans ever gets a rest.
Here we go. Bob Wollaston, the announcer, wanted to know who got the foul call on that, and he finally said it was Ruben Means. Chris Battles inside the Darren Anderson turnaround jumper, trying to be covered by Dale Holloway. Once again, the shot's bad. Air ball shot there by 31 Dwayne Holloway. So, boy, I tell you what, Eastern Hills can't buy a shot here in the first half.
Well, they've got the opportunities, but again, they've had their troubles all year long getting players into double figures. Anderson leads their team in scoring this year at 6'8". That's understandable, but they don't usually get more than one, sometimes two players in double figures. And in this District 7-5A, it takes a lot more than that. Dunbar usually getting 3 or 4 players in double figures.
Well, again, the trouble seemed to mount early on for Felly Donaldson's Highlanders as Anthony Phillips gets the rebound on the backside, but he has a foot out of bounds.
Dunbar catching
Smith.
Eastern Hills by surprise that
Ruben
time.
Means for 3, and he's getting his trigger range. But David Ross there with the tip in, so Ross will get the basket. Ruben Means with the assist, if you will.
Nice move by Ross. They've got Holloway and Ross both in there going up on the boards with Anderson, and so far it's been the duo of Ross and Holloway getting the better of Anderson.
Boy, knowing where your player is at, Dale Holloway knew exactly where Ruben Means was at, and just a half-court type toss over his shoulder.
Ruben Means,
And
the
Ruben Means goes down and
6'3"
scores
guard, with the exclamation point. Slams one home. Means earlier this year was hot with 3-point shots, but right there showing what he can do up close.
Traveling call on Chris Battles on a curly kneel type of dribble move, but it doesn't work on regulation basketball. And the Highlanders turned over. Long shot by Charles Smith, hits the iron, no good, and it was almost rebounded there by David Ross, but goes out of bounds, touches a Highlander in the process. So Ruben Means inbounds. Look at this. The Dale Holloway quick inbound, and Holloway's unprotected.
Dunbar now has 23 straight points to 0 for Eastern Hills in the last about one period. It was 14-11 at one point.
3-point shot there to get something back, but up until this point here, you had an 11-point, 11-0 run here in the beginning of the second. Otis Evans tried to answer with his own 3-point. Cannon Black make that Dwayne Holloway with the shot. And Dale Holloway's going to get charged with a foul call against Darren Anderson as they both went after the ball. That'll be Holloway's first. Well, the Wildcats putting on a little bit of a show here for a rather partisan crowd, I would imagine, except for the Highlander cheerleaders who are over the side and a few other people up in the stands. It's pretty much as a Dunbar crowd.
Well, that's the way it sounds in here, and maybe that's because of their 23-point lead now.
I'll tell you what, there's a couple of parents behind us that asked him, I said, you come to all the basketball games or just the Dunbar games? And he said, well, how many other teams are there worth watching? So that's not partisanship. Long shot by Means, no good. The turnaround there by Charles Smith, that was a little short. And certainly if you have not seen a City Video 45 game, or if you have not come out to a live game at 7-5A action at the Wilkerson Grimes Activity Center, we invite you to come on out. Pick a team, any team. Passville, Eastern Hills, Western Hills, Tremble Tech, any team at all, and they'll put on a show for you on any given night. Check the newspaper and come on out. Admission is extremely reasonable, and the action is extremely volatile, because it'll certainly heat up in a hurry for a lot of these guys out here.
It gets loud in here, and maybe sometimes not the kind of place you'd want to bring the ladies, though.
And Darren Anderson getting on the board for the first time tonight here in the second
The
period.
graphic came up, said Victor Duncan, who of course plays for Sam Houston High School.
There
Now
he
it
is.
says David Ross, but this is Darren Anderson at the free throw line. So we'll say it right if we can't get it up for you.
Three-point range, Ruben Means. And if Ruben Means finds the spot, he'll be shucking them in all night long, or at least trying to from that point.
Look out, because
That's not the
Ruben
first
Means
time.
either misses or he makes it, and it looks like he's on. If he makes one, he's going to make several.
Ruben Means reaches in on Darren Anderson and gets his second foul of the night.
But Ruben Means now has a slam dunk in the game and a three-pointer. There we have Darren Anderson, number 21, a 6'8" senior for the Eastern Hills Highlanders. Thanks, guys.
Anthony Burks coming in now, giving Ruben Means a rest. Last time we saw Dunbar on City Video 45 when they played Trimble Tech. Mr. Burks got a little bit of action. Anderson misses that shot. 1 for 3.
And Holloway knew he was coming out of the game. In fact, took a seat on the bench before his replacement came in, and that'll be number 32, Lincoln Richard, now back into the ball game for Theo Holloway.
Chris Battle slamming his towel down on the sidelines. He was not real happy with his performance. Second shot good by Greg Walton. He's got 2 for the night. Now we're going to get another substitution in the game here. Looks like it may be Jason Wright, number 43, coming in, sitting down on the scoring bench. 3:27 to play in the first half. Dunbar up on top by 23, 40-17. Bad shot there by Lincoln Richard, and here come the Highlanders down court. Greg Walton, nice pass, but it gets tipped. Charles Smith doing a lot of defensive work there. Lincoln Richard with the rebound. Boy, Charles Smith comes in. We haven't seen him play much this year, and he's got hands everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know much about Charles Smith. Damian Gentry wore that number earlier this season.
Greg Walton with the rebound and the steal, and gives it off to Anthony Phillips, and Phillips comes down, and he's got 7 points on the night.
Yeah, Charles Smith, another sophomore in the lineup. So we've got 2 sophomores on the court right now for Dunbar. Anthony Burks, number 41, and Charles Smith, number 14.
And it's a 21-point ball game.
Well, a lot of the concern early this year was who Dunbar would have. Of course, Otis Evans, the only returning starter. They graduated 3 after last year's state Final Four team, but they've certainly come up with the talent once again. Of course, the district champions JV team last year contributing to that, but showing a lot of youth here tonight with a couple of sophomores here in the first half.
Darren Anderson with his second foul of the night sends Lincoln Richard to the line. 40-19, a 21-point game. The Wildcats have led by as much as 23.
Of course, they went on a 23-0 run at the end of the first period and the start of the second period before Eastern Hills ended it with a three-pointer. And that's been the difference in this ball game. It was close early on, but since then, it's Eastern Hills has found itself in a hole.
Second shot no good, and the rebound there taken by Greg Walton. He'll clear it out. Walton to Montreal Dukes, who's back in the game. Montreal Dukes, one of the leaders in area basketball, with averaging 8 assists a game.
Just a little bit better than Otis Evans, who has 7.8 per game.
And Juan Braggs now will come in to the lineup, giving Montreal Dukes a bit of a rest. So Felly Donaldson going to the bench early, often, and deep tonight. 2:10 to play. Braggs takes a shot. Wants to warm up rather quickly, and he does. He scores 2. It's 41-11. Make that 41-21. I'm looking at Chester changing the scoreboard. A 20-point ball game. Charles Smith just inside three-point range. He's got 4 points for the night. And it's 43-21. Juan Braggs will dish it off. Back to Braggs again. Three-point range. It's high enough, and it's good. Nothing but net for Jason Wright. Out of nowhere, Jason Wright scores 3 from the top of the three-point line, and then a couple of inches more. Charles Smith tries to counter from the left side, and it's no good. Minute 14 to play, 43-24. Anderson taking that complimentary bounce under the basket as he goes up. He gets fouled. He may have been against Lincoln Richard. Let's see.
Lincoln Richard or David Ross.
That's Charles Smith. Foul by Charles
Well, we'll
Smith.
take a look at Charles Smith here on the replay, going up against no way to stop Darren Anderson at that point other than fouling him, and that's the way it's done. Fortunately for Dunbar, they're able to keep the bucket out, the ball out of the hoop and stop a potential three-point play.
Darren Anderson 1 for 3 from the line. Now 2 for 4. All of his points have come in the second quarter, and all have come from the foul stripe. Darren Anderson just not having a good night from the floor tonight. 3 for 5. He's got 3 points. It's 43-26. 17-point ball game. Dunbar Wildcats on top have been from the opening tip-off. Long shot there by number 41, Anthony Burks, who's back in the game. Juan Bragg's a little bit of a loping dribble, and it's Charles Smith. The layup there by Otis Evans, and the rebound comes back to Greg Walton. Darren Anderson almost loses it to Greg Walton, and he can't get the shot off.
Walton rushing the shot a little bit there, shot it a little bit off balance, and as he was moving from right to left, and can't buy a basket, and that has Coach Kelly Donaldson up off the bench.
Boy, Donaldson has got to be frustrated at this point.
Certainly
they've had opportunities, they've had the position, and they've been beaten by themselves. It's hit the iron, been short, been long. And Charles Smith connecting for his 6th point of the night. Hits the iron, hits the corner of the iron, hits the top of the backboard, goes too high, too low, too shallow.
And again, you have to wonder if the intimidation Eastern Hills was trying to use early has backfired on them. Dunbar has certainly kept their cool.
Again, at the end of the half, that same kind of shot goes up, and it's errant. And now it's apparent as we go into the locker room, it's a 45-26 ball game, and Dunbar on top by 19 points. This is halftime. City Video 45's basketball game of the week. Into the half, it's 45-26, and he's got to be scratching his head right now, figuring out what he's going to do to change things, but the halftime stats show it all to be Dunbar, Paul Milton.
Yeah, this team, of course, Dunbar has been as far ahead as 23, but at half, we talked earlier that Dunbar usually gets 4, sometimes 5 players in double figures. Tonight they've already got 2 there, Evans and Holloway, both with 10, Otis Evans, that is. Lincoln Richard has 9, and what a job the defense has done on 6'8" Darren Anderson. He's just got 3 points in the game for Eastern Hills, all of those coming from the free throw line. Anthony Phillips led the Highlanders in the first half with 7. Dwayne Holloway added 4.
Anderson's going to have to score a bunch to get up anywhere near his average. Nice move under the board as Lincoln Richard gets denied stuff there by the Highlanders, number 33, Andre Foster.
Andre Foster in to start the second half. Foster, another football, the tight end on the Eastern Hills offense this past football season, and a fine job he did.
Now a little bit of a press outside the three-point circle as Lincoln Richard goes up and makes the first score of the second half, and it's 47-26. Dunbar up on top as they have been. They had an 11-0 run to open the second period with, and just crushed defensively, stuffing out any possibility Darren Anderson had to score any points. He's not been heard from the floor at all tonight. Any shots he's taken have been errant. They've bounced and hit the iron. They've run away from him. They've been too short, too long, or he's not had anybody in to take rebounds to help him out.
I give a lot of credit the job Dunbar has done on Darren Anderson. David Ross, Dale Holloway, and Lincoln Richards all contributing inside.
Dale Holloway's shot's going to count and gets fouled in the process. Andre Foster, who had 2 fouls to end the first half, now has 3 here in the opening moments of the third period. 6:51 to go. And Dale Holloway Second time he's been from the floor tonight. He's successful this time. He's 1 for 1 from the stripe. Well, the Eastern Hills ROTC here tonight to spur the team on, the cheerleaders and some parents. Again, we see another one of those air balls. Andre Foster goes up, tries to lay it in. It goes underneath the net. Turnover. Eastern Hills coughs it up, and here comes Dunbar right back.
Nice pass inside. Andre Foster is going to draw one more foul right here, and one more time he disagrees. Dale Holloway all smiles right there. And Holloway will go to the line for Dunbar.
Well, Felly Donaldson not getting anybody up off the bench. Yeah, he does now as we speak. And I can almost bet that Andre Foster will go have a seat.
And a good bet. As Andre Foster on your screen there, leaving the game after 2 quick fouls in the second half.
Greg Walton coming in off the bench. And Mr. Holloway now has 3 for 4.
Bad free throw percentage.
5 points here already in the second half. In here in the third period.
Well, Dale Holloway getting the quick start for Dunbar in the second half. Of course, in the first period, I believe it was Lincoln Richard getting off to a quick start, or rather, David Ross scored 8 points in the first period.
Well, Anthony Phillips gets charged with
Montreal Dukes makes the second of his 2 free throw attempts. No good on the first one as it almost bounced over the backboard.
A nice little tap in there by the part of Mr. David Ross, and David Ross now has 2 points in each of the first 3 periods. That's all he's got is 6 points on the night. 6 minutes to play in counting here in the third period. 54-27, Dunbar in command, both offensively and defensively. Crowd somewhat subdued, but I suspect the alley-oop tried and failed there with Lincoln Richard. And we get a foul call here against Lincoln Richard. Will take the second foul of the night. Turnover on Eastern Hills' part. What I was going to say was that they've subdued somewhat, but I suspect we might see a little showtime a little bit later on. Maybe not.
And the way things have gone early, these teams not showing that they like each other too well. So,
Lincoln Richards draws his third foul real quick. And Charles Smith now going to come in for Lincoln, give Lincoln a little bit of a rest there as he is.
Well, Smith, the sophomore, had 6 points in the first half, and this is great experience for him. He's got 2 years to play under Coach, 2 more years, I should say, to play under Coach Robert Hughes. And he's showing Coach Hughes what he can do tonight with 6 points already in the game.
Well, not only that, but defensively, his hands have been everywhere tonight. He's some steals, nice passes.
Yeah,
he's really
Smith and the other sophomore, Burks, they've showed a lot of quickness. They're 2 smaller players, but that's usually what Dunbar has. Never the big men like 6'8" Darren Anderson and some of the other teams, but boy, they've shown some quickness.
Holloway and Smith try a shot. Neither one makes it, and Eastern Hills will bring it back up. Yeah, I mean, he's been contributing both offensively, defensively. Then they bring in Burks, and on the other side, Juan Braggs comes in, and he's scored boom late in the first half, and might see him with a little ball control. Otis Evans.
Well, the biggest lead of the ball game now, 29 points now. Dunbar on top.
Well, Dwayne Holloway with 2 as he tried real hard to get stuffed there by David Ross, and it was, Cannon Black going up. At the same time he was coming down was when Dale Holloway was going up, and Cannon Black will get his third foul of the night.
Take another look at it right here. A big foul. The linebacker, Cannon Black, coming down hard on Dale Holloway, and Holloway's still holding that right ear.
Somebody answer the phone, please.
Doesn't affect his free throw shooting. Makes the first of the 2.
He's perfect here in the second half. He's got 4 in a row. And as we say that, we jinx him, and he misses that 5th one. So I'll just not talk about that, I guess. 57-29 is the score. Dunbar up on top, 4:23 in the third. And Montreal Dukes coming back off the bench with 2 points. He's got 6 on the night. Dukes has had a couple of double-figure games. He had 11 against Richland in the WSL and 11 against the loss to Wyatt.
Big Anthony Phillips is going to draw this foul. 6'4" senior. Going to bring a couple of substitutions into the game now for Eastern Hills. Mike Sims, number 4, I believe.
Yeah, Mike Sims, first time tonight. Mike's come in. Shot there by Charles Smith. Errant and touched there by David Ross, out of bounds, turnover. And the Hills will take it back. And Juan Bragg's also into the game. So watch Juan Bragg. He's quick. I watched in the late second period. Very quick handling the ball, moving it around. 3-point shot and an air ball there by Cannon Black. So again, the troubles in the shooting, offensively shooting the department for Felly Donaldson just continuing to mount. Cannon Black and Dale Holloway, and possession arrow is in Eastern Hills' direction.
Neither team has run a backcourt press thus far in the game. Of course, it hasn't been necessary for Dunbar, but Eastern Hills might look into that option very soon, as we've got 3.5 minutes to go in the third period.
Juan Braggs, who was hot here in the first. Ruben Means working against Mike Sims, gets the tip.
And Means takes an extra step with the ball.
And I'll tell you, I'm looking on the bench, Paul. Montreal Dukes is either talking to Felly Donaldson or talking to the teammates, but he has got a little bit further to the right side of the screen there, just barely to the right side of the screen. A frustrated look on his face. He threw the towel down. He's just rather frustrated at himself.
So it's been a frustrating night for Eastern Hills since keeping it close early in the game. It was 14-11 at one point, but then Dunbar was able to come up with 23 unanswered points, and it hasn't been the same since.
Felly Donaldson up off the bench. Nope, no good. We have a traveling call on the part of Juan Braggs. So Eastern Hills just continuing to have their troubles. 3:08 to play in the third period. 57-31 is the score. You're watching City Video 45's high school basketball game of the week. I'm Ron Barr along with Paul Melton. We're delighted you're with us on a night when Dunbar seems to be just having its own way any way they want it. David Ross goes up, and he's already got 8 points on the night, 4 in the first half and 4 here in the second. Finally, Juan Braggs, 3 points from the top of the circle. If Juan Braggs can get hot from the top of the circle, they can make this game close.
Well, they don't have a classification on Braggs, but certainly if he's an underclassman, it's going to be a real asset to Eastern Hills and their basketball program in the future.
Dale Holloway shot, rebounded by David Ross. Well, Felly Donaldson had said he may lose 7 to 8 seniors this year. I mean, this squad is going to be decimated. Carried pass, Otis Evans to Dale Holloway, and now they bring it back up court again. Eastern Hills gets it. 3-point range, and no good. David Ross may get the foul on that.
Talking about Eastern Hills, all 5 of their starters are seniors, and their 6th man coming off the bench, Andre Foster, another senior. Now we got number 20 coming into the game and is really getting a hand here for Dunbar.
Pac-Man, Charles Holmes. Pac-Man's in the game.
You've still got your list of nicknames. Might want to refer to that as we wind down in the game, and if this thing gets too far out of hand. Not Anthony Phillips, but number 20 for Dunbar is Charles Holmes.
Dennis Ashley's coming in now, so confident with a lead of almost 30 points here, at 26 points to be exact. Robert Hughes goes to the bench a little deeper than we've seen him go before. Phillips with 9 points now.
Dunbar really looking sharp. Again, talk about their preseason schedule. The 2 games they lost, both of those came after big tournaments. They lost to 4A state-ranked team Burke Burnett, and also lost to Pascal, of course, in the district opener. The team was possibly tired after big tournaments, and but as I said, district kind of a breather for them as far as the number of games they have to play, and they look sharp here tonight.
Thomas Finney coming in for Eastern Hills off the bench. He did not play in the first period, or make the first half, first and second periods. Now he's in. 61-36 the score. Otis Evans goes to the line. Mike Sims gets his first foul of the night. Left-handed shot, no good, and it's rebounded there by Anthony Phillips, and the Eastern Hills Highlanders will bring it back up to Juan Braggs. Works against Otis Evans. Otis cannot draw the foul. Braggs tries to go in and almost wedges the ball in the iron. Ashley, a little trouble there, and he clears the ball out. Evans on a Michael Jordan-style play.
Wow. Left-handed, spinning it, getting it to spin, not even...
Taking it all the way into the paint, and once again, Juan Braggs tries to give it to Mike Sims. Long pass just outside his range, and another turnover on the... Here comes Rodney Allen.
Take a look at Otis Evans here on the replay. Watch him drive all the way, and look at it, where he puts the ball in the spin he gets to get it to fall. What a shot.
Rodney Allen, the man they call Red. To Ross, and he misses it, and it's Phillips that takes it for Eastern Hills. Coach Hughes confident with this lead he's got. Phillips from three-point range, no good. Rebound at Rodney Allen. Allen to number 25.
Well, the only starter still in the game for Dunbar is number 23, Reuben Means. Number 25, Odell Jones in the game now for Dunbar. Dennis Ashley, number 22. And as you said, Rodney Allen and Charles Holmes as well. And this is Reuben Means trying a three-pointer.
And Reuben Means a little slide there in the second base. Mike Sims, his second foul of the night, is going to send Reuben to the line. 41 seconds to play here in the third, 63-36. 27-point ball game.
Eastern Hills for the year averaging 57.3 points per game. They're well short of that right now. They give up 60 on average, so already Dunbar beyond that. Dunbar averaging 76 points a game, giving up 61, so things are looking good both ways for Dunbar.
Biggest lead up to this point was 23. Now it's 29. Little C comes in, Cedric Garrett.
And he comes in for
list.
Reuben Means, so entirely players who don't get a lot of playing time this year for Dunbar, but names you'll want to keep in mind for the future of Wildcat basketball.
Walton's no good. The rebound by Ashley. And Little C is heard from for three.
That'll be a good feeling for Cedric Garrett, 5'6" junior.
Rodney Allen, another air ball shot. Errant Sims backs it to Thomas Finney, and Finney gets two, and that's the end of the third period. So with the second team finishing it up, Coach Hughes not appearing to be happy on the sidelines. It's 68-38. You're watching City Video 45's high school basketball game of the week. Dale Holloway with 16 points on the night, 14 points for Otis Evans, 68-38 the score here, and the big man for the Eastern Hills Highlanders not even on the floor as we start the fourth period. That's Darren Anderson. Turnaround jumper there by 22. Dennis Ashley, no good. And the crowd's having a great time watching this game. Another error almost. Turnaround jumper, good. Andre Foster, his first 2 of the night.
The end of the third period, a score just announced here. Southwest losing tonight to Trimble Tech, 55-50. So that means first place Dunbar ever closer to clinching a district title. In fact, even if they lose their last 3 games, well, let's see, they have to win one more game, including this one tonight, and they will have clinched at least a tie now as Southwest falls to 6-3 in the district.
Darren Anderson just not having a good night at all. 3 points in the second quarter, and that's all he's gotten all game. He's on the bench now. Shot errant by Little C. The turnaround there taken by the O-man, Pac-Man. But that one there put up and taken by Little C. Cedric Garrett, who now has 4 points.
And a 30-point game now, Dunbar on top. Darren Anderson still not in the game for Eastern Hills. Saw very little of Anderson in the third period. A couple substitutions about to be made, but looks like Anderson still on the end of the bench for Eastern Hills.
Well, the one thing I'm watching here is Thomas Finney gets 2. The pass was to Finney, and he hesitated a moment before he took the shot. It just appears that they're just not as quick as Dunbar is on these passes. Dunbar's real sharp. The pass, the pass, the pass, the shot. And with Eastern Hills, it's pass and a slight pause. Pass and a slight pause. And it looks like Dunbar is having time to adjust to that and make the defensive play.
And, of course, a fundamental thing.
Juan Braggs with a 3-point shot, no good, and Dunbar back with it. Allen to Pac-Man. Drives under the net and gets taken down. Number 33, Andre Foster. If that's the case, that'll be Andre's 5th foul.
No seniors in the game right now for Dunbar. There you see Andre Foster, wears number 88 during the football season. Fouls out with 5 right here, number 33.
And he fouls out with only 2 points on the night.
I still have visions of Andre Foster in the bi-district game against Sam Houston. Of course, Eastern Hills putting together a good game against Sam Houston that afternoon in Texas Stadium. Andre Foster, as I said, I still have visions in the end zone. The winning touchdown pass coming right to him, only to have it knocked away at the final second. And Eastern Hills lost a heartbreaker, of course, that day in bi-district football action.
Pac-Man makes his shot, and Philly Donaldson starts bringing in some of the big guys again. Anthony Phillips in, Montrell Dukes. Cannon Black is back in. Second shot, no good there. Everybody back in except Darren Anderson, and I got to think either he's hurt or Donaldson's not real happy with this style of play, because he should be in right about now with the rest of the first team in.
We saw this same situation in the Western Hills game a couple of weeks ago. Corey Stewart, of course, one of the top scorer for Western Hills, saw very little playing time and very low offensive output for Stewart that night. He sat on the bench most of the game with his jacket on.
Pac-Man draws his first foul. That's going to be Charles Holmes. 5:31 to play. Yeah, we got Anthony Phillips, number 15. Number 31 is Dwayne Holloway. 35 is Cannon Black. 13 is Chris Battles. And number 41, Thomas Finney. And Finney at the line. For Eastern Hills, his shot's no good. Rebound, Dunbar. Controlling defensively as they have all night long, and offensively. Rodney Allen pulls up short, takes the 3-point shot, no good, and as Dunbar tries to fight for the ball, it bounces off an errant Highlander and goes out of bounds. Everything's just kind of going Dunbar's way here. The shots that Eastern Hills has taken is not doing very well. Fighting for the ball under the boards. If it goes out of bounds, it bounces off a Highlander. And you see Coach Robert Hughes and assistant coach Rambo watching their team in a commanding lead, 71-42, 5:11 to play. Charles Holmes now has 3 points on the night. 1 for 1 from the stripe, 2 from the floor. 73-42. 31-point game. Short shot hits the iron once again, and Cannon Black's frustrated with himself, but Dunbar gets it back. Allen. And he gets hammered by Cannon Black. That's number 31 under the board, Jimmy Taylor.
More substitutions on the way for Dunbar. Robert Hughes about to send 4 more underclassmen into the game.
And we don't even have him on the program.
Well,
Number
let's see.
40.
We've got TQ Earl.
Jaquario Earl is in the game.
Number 42.
All right.
Let's see. Number 40 we do not have.
Well, Mom's in the stands tonight along with Jimmy Taylor's mom, and I know they're glad because I've been getting a lot of grief because we haven't called their names tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what.
For the last couple of games.
We'll be able to say TQ, but not going to get much easier for us. Most of these players we do not have, Ron, and I'll do my best to try to come up with some names. So we've got...
well, as is the case, Robert Hughes dipping into the JV ranks, bringing a couple of JVs up who are not listed on the varsity information that we have.
That's Jimmy Taylor, the only senior in the game right now at the free throw line, number 31.
And Jimmy Taylor, 1 of 1 there, and he makes it 73-42. Well, Greg Walton will take 2 on that and make it 73-44.
41, Anthony Burks, inbounding at number 40. We do not know. 42 is TQ Earl.
Anthony Burks with 2. It's the first time he scored tonight, although he's been in the game in the second and third periods. Greg Walton seemingly having the only luck from the floor tonight. He has 4 points, 6 points on the night, 4 here in the fourth period. Coach Hughes wants a timeout. And here's where Coach Hughes will kind of do the best here. Get these younger guys that haven't played a lot, bring them into the huddle. And now he'll start to talk to him, as only Robert Hughes can.
That's a great shot right there.
I think the picture says it all, Paul. I really do.
It does. You can't add words to that. Coach Robert Hughes, a legend, over 20 seasons coaching high school basketball, over 900 victories. And right there coaching his up-and-coming Flyin Wildcats and coaching them just as Robert Hughes knows how to do it. Look at him still going. What a coach.
Dunbar with an errant play. And these Dunbar Wildcats are playing in not the first team, but certainly a team that's been in a while for the Highlanders. Number 15, Anthony Phillips. Jimmy Taylor's first foul of the night.
Again, Taylor, the only senior in right now. And what amounts to the height on this team right now is 6'3" tall.
Chris Battles, his first points of the night come from the line, and in back comes Mike Sims. Sims coming in for Dwayne Holloway. 75-47. Second shot, no good. And we're going to get a foul call there. Number 30, Roderick Russell, otherwise known as Moonraker. The Moonraker gets a foul call against them. At the line, number 13, Chris Battles. Shot no good. Battles gets it back himself. Back off to Sims. Back off to Greg Walton. Walton shot no good. Rebounded there by number 42, Jaquario Earl. And a foul call in the meantime. Anthony Burks, otherwise known as Deadeye. Cedric Garrick, Little C. Roderick Russell, the Moonraker. Odell Jones, the Big O. David Ross, Stretch. Charles Holmes, Pac-Man. Carlo Evans, known as Catfish. Rodney Allen, Red, and Otis Evans, Little O. Well, Greg Walton seemingly doing all the work for Eastern Hills here tonight.
I believe Moonraker has to be my favorite Dunbar nickname.
First game of one of the first games of the season. Walton. Jimmy Taylor with 1 from the floor. Walton had 21 points against Arlington Heights. In the Arlington Heights game that was won. They beat him 81-50, opening the season up. So he's capable of getting it up there. Jimmy Taylor's shot no good, and it's taken back. Little shot there by number 30. That's Roderick Russell, and they get into a little traffic, but the bounce pass and a fight. Sims gets it back. Sims out to Battles. Back inside to Phillips. Turnaround jumper, and Phillips scores.
Well, we talked about the football players in the game tonight for Eastern Hills. Of course, 3 of them have seen action tonight. Cannon Black, linebacker, second team all-district. Andre Foster, the tight end, and Dwayne Holloway, another football player. I want to mention a couple of Dunbar athletes. Sam Houston State announced this week they've signed Sherman Patrick, a Dunbar linebacker, to play football down there for the Bearcats next season. And Blaze Roberts has made a verbal commitment to play at Iowa State.
I hope he stays healthy, because he's had some tough luck the last couple of years.
Junior and senior seasons at Dunbar. Of course, a 4-year starter, but some injuries hampered Blaze Roberts from becoming a legend in high school basketball.
Nice move there by Greg Walton across court to Mike Sims, and they save the ball.
Well, they let Sims get away with traveling right there. And the Dunbar
crowd knows it.
Yeah, the Dunbar crowd makes the call, but not the men in the stripes at this point in the game.
Well, number 42, Taquario Earl with a foul.
You did a better job than our announcer. He's like me, calls him TQ. That's the best.
Bob Wollaston told me he would not even try to pronounce his name. I went up in the stands and asked his mom how do you pronounce his name. It's Taquario.
Well, that's.
I mean, you go to the party. You know?
I'll stick with.
And she's up in the stands, and she doesn't like the call either.
There she is. Wearing green up above the Dunbar bench.
How about them Como Lions?
Yeah, there's a little.
Yeah, Mom was up in the stands, and she was a little vocal.
Making some noise.
Taquario comes out. Nice move on the part of number 31, Jimmy Taylor, smacking it out of bounds. Dennis Ashley's going to come back in for the Dunbar Wildcats.
Ashley, a 6'4" junior, so of course Dunbar rarely with anyone over 6'4". This will be the tallest player for the Wildcats next year.
Moonraker comes out. That's Roderick Russell, and Ashley comes in. Little fadeaway jumper there, and again, once again, no good as Chris Battles hits the glass and the iron, and it takes one of those Eastern Hills bounces, which is just a negative bounce. Whistles everywhere before the shot goes up.
And the official at half court, John Persley, indicating that Eastern Hills violates the backcourt rule, and number 40 for Dunbar coming over near our table to inbound the ball.
1:25 to play, 77-54 from the opening moments. It was never any doubt Dunbar was in total control of the game.
Well, Dunbar now above their points per game average with 79. They average just under 77 a game.
Jimmy Taylor with 2 more. Anthony Phillips goes up, and he can't get it past Dennis Ashley, but loses the ball on the way back, and once again, around the iron, no good. Ashley gets charged with a foul. Up over the back. Boy, it's been one of those nights for Eastern Hills. They have not been able to buy, steal, package, ship a basket any way they want. It's just been all over the place. Here comes Rodney Allen, comes in, and
I really thought earlier we'd see a better game than this. It was close in the first several minutes of the game. 14-11, though, was as close as it got, and since then it's been all Dunbar. Dunbar has never trailed in the game tonight.
Phillips' first shot's good. Second shot is good as well. 13 points tonight for Anthony Phillips, and a losing cause for Eastern Hills. 52 seconds and counting. Errant pass there, taken by Burks to make that to Finney to Sims. Finney to Sims on that exchange, and get another foul call here as we take a look. And Cedric Garrick, Little C, may come back in, and Odell Jones, number 25, gets charged with a foul. That sends Phillips to the line once again, so Phillips can add to its total 79-56, 43 seconds to play.
Again, Darren Anderson, very, very limited action here in the second half. Averages 18 points a game, but has had no impact in the game tonight for Eastern Hills.
Easy layup.
Oh, the call
Jimmy
goes
Taylor.
in the way of Dunbar. Jimmy Taylor getting the bucket there. Looked like he might have traveled with the ball, but the officials are going to let this one in.
27 seconds. Sims, shot no good. Phillips loses it right to the hands of Dunbar. The alley-oop shot, turnaround jumper there by Jimmy Taylor.
Again, Jimmy Taylor is 6'4", the tallest player on the court right now for Dunbar.
Greg Walton just doing it all. Boy, Greg Walton and Jimmy Taylor coming in off the bench and pretty much doing what they want.
Having a good time. A lot of underclassmen again getting to play the entire fourth quarter for Dunbar. We saw the likes of Charles Holmes, Rodney Allen, Odell Jones, Jimmy Taylor, Cedric Garrett, names we don't get to mention a lot here on City Video 45, but having a lot of fun here tonight. Coach Robert Hughes going to the bench, using some underclassmen, and giving us a look at what Dunbar will have to offer next year. But again, the first half belonged to his big starting five: Deo Holloway, David Ross, Lincoln Richard, Ruben Means, and of course Otis Evans, with big performances in the first half, which allowed, of course, the underclassmen to come in late in the game. First quarter was tight. Dunbar and